Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Oksana, and this is Education USA Virtual in Eurasia and Central Asia. Just to remind you that our advising services are fully virtual, and we provide individual and group advising sessions, undergraduate and graduate application guidance, essay review support, and virtual workshops for interested students. I also would like to mention that our group advising sessions are also available for both undergraduate and graduate students. So if you're interested in any of them, scan the QR code and register for the next session. And today I'm glad to introduce our new topic about funding graduate school, assistantships, fellowships, or scholarships, like what to choose and what is the best for you. Today, our guest, Madina Akhmetova, will tell us about what is the difference between these words and how to choose the best option and fund your education in the United States. Thank you, Madina, for joining, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Oksana. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Funding U.S. Graduate Degree webinar. I'm really excited to be here today, and I hope the next hour is going to be very useful and productive for you. Before we begin, I want to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about who I am. So my name is Madina Akhmet. I'm originally from Karaganda, Kazakhstan, and I currently work as an assistant director for career services at University of the Pacific. It's located in Stockton, California. My education is I obtained a master's in college counseling and student development at St. Cloud State University in Minnesota, fully funded. And just for your note, I also have a bachelor's degree in international law from Karaganda Buketov University. I'm an alumni and scholar of FLEX program. I don't know if you've heard about it, or maybe some of you have been participants as well. And I am also an Erasmus Plus scholarship holder. So I've had experience in education for over 10 years, and I didn't really know much about funding graduate school until I got to that topic, and I was surprised about how many opportunities there are. And I've applied, it worked, and today I will share with you how to do that. I want to also know a little bit about who joined the webinar. And if you're willing, please drop your name, your location, where you are at right now, city or country, and which stage are you in? Are you thinking about master's or PhDs? Are you actively applying already, or whatever else? Maybe you have applied last year and you're reapplying this year, or you're just considering or live in the US, whatever it is. If you want to drop it in the chat, I'll make sure that I am keeping an eye on it. Let's see. All right, perfect. I see the names. Okay, PhD. One thing about that is I personally haven't done applications to PhDs. I will give you whatever knowledge I have, but I will mostly focus on masters, specifically assistantships. Master's application, great. Master's, this upcoming application, great. You are on time. Thinking about PhD, amazing, amazing. Thank you all so much for being so active in the comments. All right. So the agenda for today will be, I will give you basics of higher education structure in the US to get our foundation started. And then we'll talk about how to pick a graduate program, because I see a lot of you are considering still, so that should be useful. Then we'll move on to the meat of the presentation, which is funding your graduate program. What are the options? We delve into assistantships a little bit more. And if we have time, we'll talk about how to stand out in your application. At the end, you will have around 20 minutes to ask your questions. So hopefully today you will understand how funding graduate degrees work in the US, and you will have a clear picture and understanding of how you can receive a fully funded graduate degree in the US. All right, I see some people writing about law degrees. Great. So the higher education structure in the US, I assume all of you have completed or are in the process of completing your bachelor's degree. And as you can see, the the upper levels are master's degree and PhD or advanced professional degree. So there is a possibility to go from bachelor's directly to PhD. There are options like that. However, you do want to have a solid reason why you would do that and have some body of research ready to be applying for PhD. There are also programs, and some universities do offer a conjoined master's plus PhD. It's very individual. You'll have to look into the websites, into the universities, but there are options like that. And also, whoever, I saw one lawyer already, if you are interested in medicine or law, that would be a separate process. They have a separate pathway for it, and I would really look into them specifically for those fields. I can give you a general spiel about law because I kind of understand how it works, but medicine has its own pathway. And however, FYI, international students do get into medical schools and law schools, and they do become lawyers and doctors. So it is possible for international students. However, this is not the topic for today. So before we go into the part on how to pick your program, I want to give you a differentiation of master's and PhD. So the key differences when it comes to master's, the duration is way shorter. It's only 1 to 2 years. My master's was 2 years. The PhD usually run from 4 to 6+ years of study. And the thing about PhD is also there is no set time. It really depends on how advanced you are in your research, how fast you are with it, but the typical time is 4 to 6. The master's degree, it focuses really on professional specialization and advanced knowledge in your field, but very practical approach. Whereas PhD focuses on research, contributing new knowledge. So it's research heavy. When it comes to master's, you might have a project at the end or a capstone project. Some master programs also do theses. However, in PhD, it's only dissertation, public defense. It's very heavy in research, as I mentioned. And I would say your career prospects would also differ, not much, but for masters you will be more well positioned to work in leadership in whatever industry you have, or professional practice. It will give you that boost, and it does give you a boost in the salaries as well here in the US. But when it comes to PhD, it's more for academic research roles, if you want to be a professor, or very highly specialized roles. It's not only limited to academia and research, but it does imply that that's going to be your main responsibilities at your future work. So now, how do we pick a program? How do we go about it? I am a very active defender of the fact that you want to know what you want to study. You want to define your subject. You want to understand what you want to study and research, and you start from within. And once you do know what you do want to do, then you start research and then looking into options, not vice versa. As you've noticed, I changed my bachelor's subject of international law to higher education. So it is possible. You do want to make sure that you justify why did you do that, and you want to have some kind of experience or some kind of at least an understanding of where you're getting yourself into. Next is, once you know what you're studying, is to identify your criteria. I would have a list of non-negotiable criteria and good to have. And the criteria examples are, is it really crucial for you to have funding? Because for me, it was. Without it, I wouldn't be able to go to the US. So funding was my number one criteria, and the rest were secondary. I was also very much wanted to have my program interest to be in counseling specifically. I wanted a psychological aspect in my master's. So those two were my main non-negotiable criteria. Other types of criteria that you can think of are research interest, or do you want to have more of a practical focus? Do you really care about, and you should care about faculty who are going to be your professors, especially for PhD, and I'll talk about it separately. You want to think, what location do I want? It seems like, oh, I personally didn't really care about location when I was going here, but now I understand that there are states that I wouldn't want to live in, and check that before, or the states that I really would enjoy living and working, because it's easier to find everything in the same place later on. You want to think about career prospects. You want to think, are there many international students, and whatever other personal reasons and criteria that you want to have for the program, for the university, and location of your future studies. So once you identify this criteria, you will have a very clear filter on how to look for programs. And when it comes to master's and PhD, please keep in mind that we are paying attention to programs, not universities or schools. We're looking into programs because those will define how your studies will go. So look into, do you like the program description? Who are the faculty? What do their alums do? Try to research as much as possible. And that's where you can't really do it with AI. You can't really, outsource it to someone else. This is your personal research, having your criteria in mind and understanding what subject you want to study. I would say pick 3 to 6 programs that satisfy your criteria, and each program that you're applying for, you will need to pay the application fee. So that's something to keep in mind. I personally had, I think, only 3 programs that I really liked, and I was like, I would focus on those 3. If you are a person who likes to have a lot of options, go for more than 6, absolutely. And after that, it kind of goes hand in hand, but try to have coffee chats with alums who've already completed the program. They will have insights and valuable information on how did they like the program, what did they learn, how what did they like, what did they didn't like, and you can find all that on LinkedIn. People are very open and friendly on LinkedIn. And I personally was scared my first time that I've ever done an info interview. That's what it's called. I was scared. I didn't really feel like people would reply to me, but they did. And I had a few coffee chats, or like Zoom calls. That's what it's called. Info interviews with those people, asked questions, got to know the programs a little better. And of course, you want to outreach. Email program directors or administrators, whoever they have, and attend their info sessions. So just a few tips. US university websites are tricky. Just expect that they're very, no university website is going to tell you, or program website is going to tell you, here's how you get the funding, here's how you apply. Well, it does pretty much say that, but it's very, it's implied, it's hidden. You have to search for it, you have to dig, you have to read carefully. Each sentence means something, and you want to reach out to email departments, email the program advisors, ask the requirements, ask about the funding, double check, double confirm. This is all, it's okay to do that. That's their job. I'm working at a university right now. I know that's their job. They are supposed to be helping you understand all the variety of options and things that they have on their websites. Another tip is to attend info sessions. Usually, not all, but majority of programs will have info sessions when they will have a webinar like that, like we're having today, but with admission counselors or with the program advisors, program directors, and they will tell you the information about the program, about how to apply, and answer your questions. So it's the best resource for you aside from alums. I would say those 2 resources should be your top 2. And touching on PhD, don't just blindly apply to PhD programs and expect that you will get admitted. That's not how it works here. You want to connect to professors before you're applying. You want to connect with them, talk about your research subject, reach out to them, and establish the mutual interest. What does it mean? That means that this professor will most probably admit you if you are going to be working on the same research subject. or working on the same paper, working in the same lab. That's how the PhD application work. I've heard plethora of stories when student applicants would apply blindly without connecting to anyone, and they would never get in. And not because they're worse, but just because they didn't know that you're supposed to connect with professors, know what you're going to be researching, compiling a nice email, talking about your research subject, and being interested in their research. So of course you want to do some of your homework and get to know the professors and see if you're actually compatible research-wise. So I see the comments. Thank you all very much. Moving on to the meat of our presentation, which is financing graduate degrees. Master's degrees are usually either self-funded, partially or fully funded by the department, or are funded through loans in general. The PhDs, though, they usually offer full ride scholarships. They will be fully funded by the department for the duration of the program. So there is people don't really pay for their PhDs, if that makes sense. They're usually fully funded. Master's wise, it is a little harder to fund it, but it is very much possible. And how do we do that? Through assistantships, the graduate assistantships, teaching or research, and I will talk more about them in a little bit. You can fund them through external programs. If you are from Kazakhstan, you probably heard about Bolashak, amazing program. I'm not going to focus too much on them. And Fulbright, that's another one. And also there are scholarships and fellowships. Those, however, you are very individual. You really have to look for them on the websites of the universities. I don't think I can really click on the links, but there are scholarships in specific universities for specific programs. There are fellowships also, for instance, for STEM, women in STEM specifically. So there are different types of scholarships and fellowships that you have to search individually for your program, for your industry, for your subject. And sometimes they can be not, you have to really look carefully. They can be just partially funded. It can be a grant of $2,000. It can be fully funded too, which are more rare. Same goes for fellowships. And those can be applied both to masters and PhDs. Now, the external funding, for those of you who have heard, the Bolashak Scholarship, fully funded, amazing, everything, covers tuition, living expenses, flights. There is a requirement to return to the country and work for 5 years, 2 to 5 years, or 3 to 5 years, depending on your location. And the US Fulbright program. Highly competitive, but highly prestigious U.S. State Department scholarship. It can, you will need to see, depending on your country, if you can do master's or PhD through Fulbright. But Fulbright is an amazing, amazing opportunity. Now, the assistantships. So not just graduate. There are 3 types of assistantships: teaching, research, and graduate. 3 types. And they're different by what you will be doing. So graduate assistantships is very much office type of work, administrative work. Teaching is when you will be teaching, obviously, and research is when you're researching. All 3 types of assistantships are offered for some master's programs and some PhD programs as well. So it applies to both levels. So it's work, typically 10 to 20 hours. Well, the academic or administrative offices, that's the graduate assistantships. And what kind of support do they provide? There's different types, kind of 3, if you may. The full coverage. So it requires 20 hours per week. So a full part-time job. As an international student, you will be allowed to work 20 hours only anyways. And the great thing, it includes full tuition waiver, monthly stipend, and health insurance. Not always health insurance, by the way. So that's what I did. I found an assistantship which fully covered my studies, and I've worked. There is partial coverage. So you have to, again, read carefully on the websites. Is it full? Is it partial? Because I got into another program. However, their assistantship had only, I think, 75% coverage of tuition fee. And I had to really double check and double confirm with them before I realized that, oh, if I do go for this program, I'll have to pay. I'll have no choice. So I had to reject that and go for my full coverage opportunity. So the partial coverage, 25 to 50%, it's usually less work, 10 hours per week, partial tuition credit, and a smaller stipend. If you are able to afford that, great, go for it. There are also some assistantships that only cover the stipends. So they will give you monthly salary, and that is it. You will have to pay for your tuition yourself. The thing about assistantships is that the full coverage, just so you know how it usually is offered in more rural areas or Midwestern states. You can find assistantships in bigger states, bigger cities, maybe yes, but majority of them are concentrated in the rural areas and Midwestern states, FYI. Yes, that's what I want to say about the assistantships. So how do we secure that? It really very much depends on your university, but it's basically the same as applying for a job. You identify what are the roles, what are the current assistantships on campus are offered, and you're applying to them with a cover letter and a resume. Both of them have to be tailored to the position. So you're not just send in whatever you send for your application for master's program. You want to tailor it according to what the office is looking for. And usually you will find a list of assistantships on the website, and you will have to look into financial aid. You will just dig and research. It's supposed to be on the website. You can also, and you must actually, ask your program advisor. Once you start applying for programs, hey, do you have great, you ask questions about the program, great. Now talking about the funding, I was wondering if your university offers full coverage assistantships, graduate teaching or research. Will you be able to share resources with me? So that's one way, and also another is to find it yourself on the website. And the benefits of it, aside from getting full tuition or partial tuition, whatever your situation is going to be, is you are getting that US work experience. That is already a great benefit on your resume when you will be looking for a job later on in the US or outside of the US. You already have been working towards your experience. And know that they are also highly competitive. So try to stand out, try to, again, tailor your cover letter and resume. So I personally worked as a career services graduate assistant, and this position prepared me very well for my future job that I have right now. It gave me a huge advantage among other candidates from the US. And the idea here is not only to get that to get a job in the US, right? This is not the goal of getting an education in the US in general. The goal would be to have that experience, to get a chance to work at a university, in an office on campus. It is very rewarding. It is fun. It gives you all those soft skills that you will need for your future career. My case, since I did study college counseling and student development as my subject, it directly related to my degree. But I know a plethora, numerous cases of students who did their business degrees, counseling degrees, psychology degrees, marketing, whatever, and they worked on in the offices on campus, and they got that experience that was still transferable for their future career. So it's a win-win situation. Anyways, so how would the day look like in career services office. I would sometimes coach and advise students. So they gave me training on how to do that. Plus, I have my own experience. So I would conduct one-on-one appointments for resumes, for major exploration job search, and so on. And I would work on a workshop. Which workshop do I want to do? Maybe something related to AI, or, well, AI didn't exist back then that much, but generative AI specifically, or designing slides for presentations. Another day will look like I'm managing the social media content, coordinating the panels, thinking about the future events, and maybe applying what I've learned in class to practice, maybe by creating specialized resources for marginalized populations of students. So I don't. There is a stigma that graduate assistants or assistants in general don't really do much, or they print papers or whatever it is. It really depends on you, how you will take a lead of your assistantship. It depends a lot on your supervisor as well. So it's really a combination of things. And I see your questions. I will have time to answer them. Those are great. Now, the application timeline, right now it's May, which means you are, well, it's June actually, which means you are in a prep phase already. So you want to make sure you're defining your major, you're taking your IELTS, TOEFL, whatever it is, GRE if needed. You are researching right now heavily. You're picking programs. Again, remember, when you research programs, by that time, you should already have the criteria in your head. You should already know what are my non-negotiables that I'm looking for, so you can filter out the programs easier. You want to start reaching out to professors. Yes, we're doing it that early, and we're drafting the SOP and resume, statement of purpose, and a resume. The submission is usually in December, February. When it comes to PhD, though, I would really double check, because it can be way earlier. And for masters, it can also be, they have the early applications, they have the regular, and they can run up until August too. So it's very individual. Check on their websites, but you want to start submitting already. And when it comes to assistantships, it again depends. In my case, I applied simultaneously at the same time to my graduate degree program and to my assistantships. Some of the places will only let you apply for assistantships once you have an acceptance offer from the program. So again, reading about it, having a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, where you're writing down which programs you're applying, when is the funding due, and how is the process looks like. That will help you to really organize your applications. At that time, you want to start requesting recommendation letters, pay fees, or apply for waivers. By the way, if you are a PhD, this is the time, the high time right now and in the next few months, to start reaching out about your research. And unfortunately, I want to be transparent. Due to the politics due to the current administration, a lot of the funding has been cut, and it might be a little extra work, especially for PhDs, to look for the funding. It is what it is. The assistantships at least in my university, it's still there, and I do hear people get an assistant. It still is happening, and same for PhDs as well. It still is available. It's just less than it was before. Will it change? Probably. Anyways, so the admissions March to May. Is when you will start getting those acceptance offers, and for some you will start applying for GA or TA positions. TA, by the way, this is where you teach, as I said, and research assistant, this is where you help with research. Those are very much widespread for PhDs. And the final steps. So I want to be mindful of our time. So when it comes to standing out as a master applicant, I will probably just give you a very quick spiel here. For masters, make sure that the master's program that you're applying for has a logical reason. You're applying there not because you're bored or you have nothing to do or you don't want to work, right? Obviously, you want to apply there because your current experience, whatever you're doing right now, is it needs extra knowledge. You have a goal that you want to get to, and that master's will help you bridge that goal. And how? By identifying skills, or by identifying whatever certifications, or what is it exactly that you want to do. If you are changing the bachelor's to master's subject, you want to make sure that you are given the solid reason why do you want to change. For PhD applicants, as I said, the strategy is to reach out to professors beforehand and to make sure that the whole narrative of your story, of your application documents, is that you have been working towards that research problem, and just to make sure that it looks like, even if it's not entirely true, which is okay, we're not lying, but saying that specific research problem has started at some point and I've been working towards it. All right, so I thought that I'll see your faces, but since not, we're not gonna take a picture. However, you can add me on LinkedIn, Madina Ahmed. This is my LinkedIn. It should pop up. And you can also email me if you have any extra questions or you want to reach out. But now it's time for the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Madina. And yeah, I think we can move to our questions. I actually checked the chat and we can start from there. And I will try also to show you the question on the screen so it's easy for you to read them. And the first one is how to find assistantship on the website.
Yeah, this is a great question, and I saw it while I was presenting, so I did give you an answer. But when you go, it really depends. I would show you how to do it live, but if you go on the websites, it might come up at the financial aid category. It might be a hyperlink when you're looking into your program, the financial help or whatever it is called with the word finance, and the hyperlinks to whatever the options. It can be fellowships, it can be scholarships or assistantships. And as I said, the best bet is also to reach out to folks directly, to your program advisors, program directors, and ask them, what are the assistantships available to all students? And just know that it will not look pretty. It will not look like it's, oh, here it is, here's what we have, we'll give you 100% of tuition coverage. It will be very subtle, and you will have to really figure it out yourself in a way and double check, does it really pay for the full of the tuition, what kind of stipend it is, but the numbers are usually there too, and in PDF files, as I remember now.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. So the next question is how to combine this work and studies without sacrificing either.
That's an amazing question. I love it, Adam. I have Adam. I think I have Vladimir is writing that at Vanderbilt they ask for email and they send PDF handouts with info about the programs. Exactly. Sometimes it is like this. It's not as technical, as tech savvy as you would think. You will have to dig and ask extra. All right, so how to combine the work and studies. The good thing about it is that your offices know that you are a full-time student. They know that you, first and foremost, you are a student, and only then you're a graduate assistant. So I personally wanted to really work as a graduate assistant, and I asked for things that I can learn and that can help me later on. Sometimes graduate assistants, if they have very heavy study load, they would do more of an admin tasks. They will answer emails, they will help around the office, they will have whatever with the logistics and organization of events. So it is possible to balance 100%. I was also worried about it, but once I got into it, I was like, oh, it is very much doable. It's the load is evenly distributed, and I even had time to work out, to go to the gym. So you can always negotiate. You can always talk to your supervisor, because they do understand that. I hope that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. So, how likely it is to find full coverage GTA, GRA in Western states like California, Washington, and Oregon?
Yeah, so I can't give you the exact number or the percentage of possibility, but likelihood. But I would dig and research, honestly, because a lot of universities, they do offer partial coverage. If you are able to afford your studies with that, then definitely you can find something in California, Washington, and Oregon. But just go and research, I would say. My university that I work at right now offers full assistantships, but only to specific degrees, to specific programs. So it is possible to find. It's all about research. And
Yeah.
it's great that it's good that you know that you want to go to the Western states, but do make sure to learn how to drive before you come.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so the next one is I finish my bachelor's next year and plan to apply for master's next year as well. Would it make sense to study for one extra year applying to master's in Ukraine or gain work experience instead?
Mhm. Okay, so you're finishing bachelor's next year and you're planning to apply for master's next year. Would it make more sense to study for one extra year applying to master's in Ukraine or gain work experience instead? So I assume your question is if you would it make more sense to study for one extra year of your bachelor's? Is that what you're meaning? In either way, I would say it depends on your industry, but I would say for majority of them, gaining work experience is always useful, especially if you're planning to go abroad or study in the US. They really do appreciate when you have that work experience, and it can set you very far apart from the other candidates. So it's hard for me to tell because I'm not understanding what does it mean study for one extra year. Is it for bachelor's? But either way, gaining work experience is always great. Wherever it is, you can get those transferable skills, even if it's a job in retail or in something that is not related to your degree. You can still get those transferable skills like customer service, communication, professionalism. Those are all very well appreciated anywhere in the world.
Yeah, and I would also add maybe you need to start the preparation for masters a bit earlier if you don't want to spend one more extra year of studying, like getting master's degree in Ukraine and then applying again to United States.
Mhm.
Maybe it's better to start it earlier, like maybe
Yeah.
like already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but thank you so much for your suggestions. That's great. What would you recommend in defining a subject of study?
Oh, that's a separate presentation needed for that. Uh, I would say um, if you have an opportunity to go to a specialist who can help you pick a profession, use that. And if not, think about the things that you really like doing. And I would say turn your attention inward. Rather than outwards, because right now there's a lot of things happening. The world is changing. The AI is changing the workforce. It's changing the labor market. If before going for computer science was like you wanted to go into computer science, get a job at FANG, and then be happy. Right now, it's not working anymore. Computer science graduates are really freaking out. They can't find jobs at all. AI is replacing them. So the outside world changes so quickly. It is important to look inside. And when you do, most probably you'll find something. You'll find things, you'll find programs. Read I would say read more, research more. If you have an opportunity to try things, do that. Shadow people who work in industries that you're interested in. Let's say you want to be a lawyer and your aunt is a lawyer, go with her to work one day and see what she's doing, see if you would like it. Try this. And there is a great book called Design Your Life. Yes, wait, sorry, not Design Your Life. Life design, that's what it's called, life design. Try and get the techniques and ways to go about choosing your profession from there too, because it has way more recommendations than I can give you right now.
Oh,
Life
that's
design.
great. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I would also like to recommend our viewers, you can always reach out to our Education USA advisors, and they will be glad to help you with defining your future way of studying, like maybe subject or program that you would like to pursue in future. Thank you so much. And next question is actually about funding. Is the salary of assistantship enough for living expenses, life, and covering the education costs?
Great question, Agirim. So I would really double check what the salary is, because they might cover the full tuition, but then the salary would not be really, it's not really a salary, it's a stipend. It would not be really sufficient. However, mine was okay. I could barely go by it, to be honest with you. Some of my friends had higher stipends. So it really, really depends. You would want to check. So let's say you get this PDF with the list of the assistantships. They would usually have the stipend amount, and it would say something like 12,000 per year. So you would want to calculate it with how much is it per month, and what is the medium wage, or like a medium amount of money that you can go by in this specific state or a town, and see if that is okay. I would say connecting to alums and asking them, was that enough for them, would be a more realistic approach. But there are stipends that are pretty good, and they can let you live a good life during your master's or PhD.
Yeah,
But don't expect too much, yes, I would say.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so where to find professors and what to write to them?
Yeah, so you can find them on the websites of your programs. It will usually have like a contact us or ask us category, where you can click and see the faculty names and their emails, and reaching out to them directly like that. What you would want to write is something, you're introducing yourself. Hi, my name is Danelia. I want to apply for your this and this program. I have experience in, or I have a bachelor's in whatever it is. I was wondering if you could help me with these questions, and you can list the questions. So always introduce yourself, tell a little bit about yourself and why do you want to apply for this program. Have your answers. Please write answers that you can't find on their website. Don't ask things that you can easily locate on their website, because it will be a waste of your time and their time. And thank them at the end, of course.
Amazing. Thank you so much. One more question from the chat. And dear viewers, if you have anything else to ask, like this is the right time. So please write your questions. So what criteria are most commonly considered when selecting students for assistantship positions? And how many assistantship positions are typically available for incoming students each year?
So the second question, how many assistantship positions? It depends on the university, on campus, and the current needs. What I can say here is that it's more likely to find the assistantship at the beginning of the year. So if you start in fall, this is the best time, because they would have more positions then. If you're coming mid-year, let's say you're starting from your spring semester, that is the time when there are less positions, because most of them are occupied already by the students who started in fall. That means they will leave those positions once they're done in spring, and the new year will be taken over by the other applicants. That's when it comes to assistantship number. The criteria is the how well you fit the requirements for what they need, and how well you will fit in the office, the culture of the office. You might look great on paper, but then they do an interview with you, because it's like a real job. You apply with a cover letter, with a resume, and then you will have an interview. So expect to have an interview for your program admission, and then separately for your assistantship positions. It's like a job. I had around 10 plus interviews for assistantship positions, and they will see if are you a likable person? Are you approachable? Are you friendly? Are you going to fit in our office? Great. How's your English? Do you understand what they're talking about? All of those things are going to be taken into consideration when picking a graduate assistant or a teaching research assistant.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. Is it allowed to have double or more assistantships?
Sometimes you can do a few partially funded assistantships. Yes, I actually had that my first year or first semester. I had 2 different assistantships, which covered half and half. So it is possible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
great.
more than 2 though, because as an international student, you're allowed to work on campus only for 20 hours. You cannot do more than that.
Yeah, that's great. It's the thing that you should always keep in mind when
Yeah.
you apply for such positions. Thank you so much. We also have questions from students who have registered and like they submitted their questions in advance. So I'll just go through some of them because you actually covered a lot during the presentation. Thank you so much. And the question is sounds like this: like, what is like the things that is more valuable for apply when you apply for master's or PhD? Is it like GPA or your portfolio, work experience, or something else?
Yes, great question. When it comes to GPA, it's okay. The overall portfolio of a candidate is looked at holistically. So they will see how how congruent your application is, meaning how logical the things that you've done are, how you've reflected upon your experiences. If you have lower GPA, it doesn't mean that you can't get in the program, not at all. My friend, actually, she had C's in her bachelor's degree transcript. She still got in, she still got her assistantship. So they don't really have separate requirements that they really look at and filter students through. It's not England, it's not Europe. It's more of a holistic approach. Does that student make sense for our program? Are they going to contribute to the conversation and discussions that we have? If you are in STEM, though, however, it will look a little different. With STEM degrees, they do look at your GPA maybe a little bit more, but you can still talk about why, for instance, if you've had a lower GPA, why did it happen? Are there any personal reasons for it? And if you do give a sound reason, it will convince them. So most of it is about how you tell your story. Americans and just US Americans are extremely storyteller lovers and admirers. So if you can tell your story nicely, it's a good chance that you will get in. When it comes to PhD, though, it is more criteria based. It's more specific. It's stronger. It's harder on the requirements, on your GPA, on your research. Research is mostly important, but GPA as well. I think for PhD, you can't really have a lower GPA. So yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think that's all about the questions, and I would like to. Oh no, I have something else. So if I have finished, let me just show it to you. If I have finished bachelor's and master's in business and want to pursue master's in another field, this is actually what I was thinking about also. Which GPA would I use?
So the question, which GPA would I use, is not really correct, to be honest, because there is no in the application they rarely have the GPA question. It will be reflected on your transcript, so they will see it all anyways. They will see both GPAs, and they will, if you do want to, you can include them in your resume. If your GPA is more than 3.0, then you can include it in your resume. If it's less, I would omit it. I wouldn't write it there, but they will still see it on your transcripts. So
Yeah.
just know that. Yeah. But if you
And
want to justify either of the GPAs, you can talk about it in your motivation letter, somewhere in the additional letters of admission. And then there's a question from Adam. I see. Is it true that a teaching and a research assistantship?
yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it true that the teaching and research assistantship is valued more in the long run than a graduate assistantship?
Yeah, so it really depends on your industry. If you are planning to do a job that is related to teaching in the future or research, obviously you would want to go for teaching and research. If you're planning to become a professor, or if you're doing your master's and planning to apply for a PhD, definitely go for teaching and research assistantship rather than the graduate one. However, if you are like me, the teaching and research would be okay for me, but the graduate really prepared me for my future job. Or if you are going into an industry or corporate, whatever it is, I wouldn't say that teaching and research assistantship is necessarily more valuable. They all serve different purposes, and it really depends on you individually and what's your future career prospect look like.
Yeah, great. I think we have like additional comment about their
Yeah.
question, bachelor's and master's in business, and
Yeah.
the comment is that both are good. Just wanted to know if I would include both transcripts.
Yeah.
Mm,
Irina, if you are applying, they will require you to upload all the transcripts that you have. So they will see both of them.
Yeah, great, wonderful. Okay, so one more question about do I have better chances of applying to a master's and getting a funding, or directly to PhD with research experience and get funding as a bachelor plus graduate in STEM?
So it's hard to say where you will have better chances. I will say that PhDs are mostly funded, fully funded. They come with full right scholarships. So if you can get into the PhD, which is fully funded, and it's implied, it usually is automatic too. Once you're applying, you don't have to do a separate unless it's an assistantship. Sometimes they even will give you an assistantship. Then great, you will get it. When it comes to masters, you have to look for it separately. It usually is like a separate effort that you have to make to get the funding. PhDs are more funded than masters. That is for sure. When it comes to you individually, I can't really tell. If you have research experience, great. Try your best. Find people who did that before. Go on LinkedIn, search for folks who did programs that you're interested in. See if they know of anyone who went directly from bachelor's to PhD. But it is harder to do, but it is possible. So you see how there are different pros and cons here and there.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, and I think the last question that I missed. Let me just show it to you. What would you recommend at paying attention to when considering location, in consideration of not being able
Yeah.
to visit the place beforehand?
That's a great question. I would really look into if there are a lot of international students. Because if there are, not only you will make more friends and it will be easier to adjust because international students know their ways, but also it means that most probably the offices at the university are catering to international students. They care about them and they know how to help them. That was the case for me. My universities was full of international students. I would say they had probably more international students than locals at some point, and their international office was extremely friendly. They helped us out in all ways. They they really cater to us. So I would look into that more than, let's say, if it's a big city, if it has fun things to do. Of course, it is very important, but if you are aiming to get fully funded degree, then I wouldn't put that as my main criteria, rather than having a good support system for international students.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think, sorry, not being able to visit the place beforehand is real, very real. I would say talk to people, try to network with alums, and they will give you a better insight. What was it like to live there? Ask questions, be prepared, have a mindset of, I'm not going into a fairy tale US. It is rural, it is, and I have to accept that if I want to get my education. That will be easier for you to handle if you're going into like a very small town in the Midwest.
Yeah, that's great. And during our webinars, we all usually cover this part about the location of the university. So, like, if you are interested, please join our webinars, and we will be glad to tell you more about their location itself of different universities. And comment from the previous question: does applying as a bachelor's graduate lower my chances of getting into a PhD program?
Yeah, I would be very careful with answering this question. I don't think it is. As long as you can really show that you fit the requirements. If you can show it, if you can prove it, you've done your research, you have amazing GPA, you have this great, not just GPA, I mean, portfolio in general. You have this very clear understanding of why you need a PhD program, and you can connect with the professors on your research subjects, then it definitely will not lower your chances. So it really is about the application itself. You can also ask this question and talk to the program advisors and see what they say, but I don't think it will lower your chances as long as you can prove the rest.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Medina, for sharing so many insights. And it's always valuable to know, like from your personal experience, how it works. And thank you so much for so detailed explanation. I'm sure it was pretty valuable for our students. So I think we're done with all the questions. Thank you so much for your participation. So far, we had 40, even more than 40 participants live, and I think this is great. Thank you so much, Medina, once again for joining, and for maybe like the last comments for our participants.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining today. The fact that you have logged in, asked me questions, you're already well on your way. Getting funding is tricky. It's not easy, but it is very much possible. And I've done it. So you can do it. Sorry for the cheesy line at the end, but it is what it is. And you can always add me on your LinkedIn, email me. I'm very open to making friends, talking to people, and sharing my experience. Thank you
Great.
so much, Oksana, for
Thank
giving
you.
me that
Thank you so much,
opportunity.
everyone, and see you during our next webinars. Bye bye.